Welcome back to Red Star Raceway, and more action now from the historic and inland regional championships. It's Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series that are about to make their way out onto the circuit for their very first heat of the day. And for those of you that have just joined us here at Red Star Raceway, a big welcome to you first of all. From my side, Greg Maloney, the voice of choice, on behalf of our team of up to 60 seconds, Paul Bedford and Daryl giving us all the action, as well as our camera crew out on track. We're about to see the first heat of the race action here from the BMW Car Club Racing Series, proudly brought to you by Bridgestone, and we hope you enjoy all this action as it gets underway. Now remember, what we're going to see here is, of course, the first heat of racing. There's a second heat coming a little bit later on today for these guys. A couple of guys that have changed up some machinery, as you'll pick up if you do follow this series. It's Rick Lorero out there. Lorero, of course, is going to be piloting not his usual Class A competing car. He's gone with the all-red machine that will be picked up in your shots in a few minutes' time. And you get to see him there alongside Andreas Meyer, who, of course, has become one of the seasoned campaigners in this category and certainly a tough man to beat. So look out for action between him and Lorero. And, of course, also look out for Jan Everstein and Salvi Gualtieri, who could be in the mix here at the front end. It's a rolling start. We are under safety car at this point in time, and the pace car being provided today by Casey's Auto. The BMW's being led out by a little brand new Ford Fiesta, courtesy of the Mazda and Ford dealership in Benoni, and they of course are our vehicle suppliers here this weekend, and we do thank them for their support. Getting into the thick of it right now, and looking forward to a big battle that probably resume as per the previous rounds of this championship. And particularly here at Red Star Raceway, there's always been some great race action that's been supplied by these guys as they get into it. Running through the grid, of course, it's Ian Cotwell who will be behind Salvi Gualtieri. Look out for Renier Smith there on the third row. Carlo Garbini and Oz Baggioni will be on the fourth row. Neil Reynolds and Troy Cochran is the fifth row. Then it's Matthew Wadley and Varish Gunpath. As we under starters' orders, it's drop the hammer time down towards turn one. Rick on the inside trying to find a way through there on Andreas Meyer, but Andreas Meyer getting the whole shot and turns into turn one. They're side by side into turn one though. Lorero has not given up the fight just yet, and goes into turn one side by side, heading towards turn two now, has to tuck in. Good start there coming out of Ian Cotwell. He starts to come into the thick of it as well, but it's Jan Everstein who just squeezes through into third place and just getting ahead there of Salvi Gualtieri. Gualtieri now under a bit of pressure in the SAS Speed car there from Cotwell. Then it's Garbini. Garbini tucked in behind him. It looks like Oz Baggioni, and then Neil Reynolds. Neil Reynolds got a good start as well off the line, but leading things out at this point in time, it is Andreas Meyer. And that car, of course, an ex-touring car here in South Africa, piloted originally by Dion Gibert, and definitely a car that has become a big contender at the front end. And look at that massive big wing splitter down the back. And, of course, the downforce that's been generated on the car is certainly a massive amount compared to what it was in its original trim. Now onto the braking point, down into turn six. And at this point in time, Andreas Meyer trying to get away there slightly from Rick. Rick hanging on for second place at this point in time, but not too far off the back end, considering he's in his not his usual contender. And now fighting it out with the Class B competitors here, Jan Everstein and Salvi Gualtieri just behind them. A little bit of a gap down to Cotwell, Renier Smith in that mix as well, and Garbini just maintaining a little bit of a gap over the rest of that pack as they go down towards the dog bone for the first time in anger. Heading out of the dog bone section now, Oz Baggioni just in the foreground of that shot. And as I said, apologies for a little bit of a breakup here. There's not much we can do about it. There was a substation that burnt down this morning in Dalmas, and it's affecting the cell phone towers around us. So signal is a bit of an issue. So we'll do the best we can to bring you all of the action that you can see here from the historic and inland championship and first race, of course, of the BMW Car Club Racing Series, proudly brought to you by Bridgestone and their associate sponsors. Coming through the Bridgestone flick. That little chicane is such an incredible corner here. It's normally the first corner or the last corner, depending on which way the circuit runs. Remember, here at Red Star Raceway, they go 6 months of the year in a clockwise direction and 6 months of the year in an anti-clockwise direction. And it's usually in the clockwise direction that they end the year, which is of course what we're doing today. And we'll be doing it next weekend as well, as part of the Extreme Festival. Coming through turn two, now into turn three. Meyer with Rick Lorero all over the back of the Lorero is looking very, very good at this point in time. This is definitely something that we didn't expect. I don't think Rick expected to be on the same kind of pace. He qualified on a 2:04.9 and it was a 2:04 dead. So it was 0.9 of a second off Meyer, but of course when that red mist comes down and race face is on, it It looks like there's going to be a bit of a fight here for the lead, and a great little fight expected between the two of them. Oh, putting wheels onto the dirt through the triple apex. That's going to lose him a little bit of ground. Those Bridgestone tyres will not like the dirty stuff. And yeah, look, Rick just loses a lot of ground there due to a small mistake coming out of turn 5. Closes under braking into turn 6. Tries to close that gap down as quickly as he can and as far as he can. Looking further back. Battle for third place also starting to heat up a little bit there. Everstein in the mix there with Salvi Gutteri, and I think Salvi Gutteri's actually moved up into third place. We'll try and pick up on those two cars for the third place battle just behind. Yes, he has. So the red car from Sav Speed has moved up one position, up into third place. Haven't picked up on it just yet. You might see it in the foreground of the shot there. There he goes, just through the forefront of the shot there. As we've got a double shot here from our cameraman picking up down the bottom end of the circuit. So it is Andreas Meyer who leads things out. Rick Leroux is there, looking very good in the second place. And a super drive there from him, considering it's not the usual car that he would pilot in Class A. But of course, he is a Class A competitor now, fighting in the Class B's. A couple of guys just dropping wheels on the dirt, coming onto the back straight, running their cars a bit wider than what they'd like, as the leaders head into the Bridgestone chicane. Another lap going to be completed here. Across the line. Super start here from the BMW Car Club Racing Series, and of course these guys proudly brought to you by Bridgestone and their associate sponsors. It's Andreas Meyer on 204.7s. Leroux is there in 206.6s, and Salvi Gutteri, confirmation of that now, in third place on a 209.4. Third place battle coming into turn 2. Coming out of turn 2 into turn 3 now. Sav Speed car being caught by Jan Everstein. Bit of smoke out of the Sav Speed car as the rest of the pack head down towards turn 1. There's the battle we want to be seeing. Everstein closing on Salvi Gutteri. Everstein looking for a way through, but can't find it just yet. And just behind that, it's kind of Noah's Ark racing here, because we've got groups of 2 cars and 2x2 they're racing. And the 2x2 racing includes the battle for 5th place between Cotwell and Garbini. And then you've got a battle there between Baggioni and Neil Reynolds as well. So some nice little fights right through this pack. Great to see that 22 of the usual contenders, including a new man to the series, Lyle Ramsey, joins this class for the first time. A seasoned campaigner in what was originally the Polo Cup National Championship. He then went into the Volkswagen Challenge for a while, became a big contender in Class A and B there, and now looking to become a big contender in Class E of the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. So Salvi Gutteri hangs on for third place, but Jan Everstein is all over the back of him. Everstein looking to close things down and possibly change that up on the back straight. There they go, onto that long back straightaway. It's almost a kilometre long that they've got to go down and go opposite the N12 highway. See cars heading there in different directions, and oh man, that's some great top end there from the Sav Speed car, but superb braking coming out of Everstein as he closes once again. Cotwell in the background and Garbini very close too. So a nice fight there for Cotwell and Garbini for 5 and 6 on track. They'll come through and cross the line. To apologise for the breakup there in the cameras, and of course also the breakup that we're getting on the internet feed. It's got nothing to do with our internet, unfortunately. It's all to do with a bit of an issue that they've had here in Dalmas with a substation that burnt down earlier on today. And that, of course, affects the power delivery to the cell phone towers around the area that we are using to give you all the action here from Red Star. Still Andreas Meyer. And now pulling about 3.7 seconds over Rick Leroux there in second place. Is doing a super job to stay up there with that Class B contender. And of course Salvi Gutteri now maintaining just about half a car length. And there you can see the gap between himself and Everstein. Everstein definitely wanting to be a bit higher up than what he is right now, and Salvi kind of spoilt his day. He qualified ahead of him, almost a second quicker as well, so certainly knows he's got the pace to run in front of Salvi Guertieri, but he's got to find a way past him. Battle just behind that, in fact further back from that one. Picking up on some action that's a little bit further back there. Battles through the field too there. Matthew Wadley having a bit of a fight. He's there with Rainier Smith. I think the two of them very similar colour schemes on those cars, probably running in the same team. And that fight at this point in time. For 10th and 11th place on track. They come into the Bridgestone chicane right now. Closing on the back end of Neil Reynolds. Love the way that they run SAP livery there. That's typical of Rainier Smith. Matthew Wadley joining him there in the second of those pursuit vehicles that the SAP would be using. Continued action there between them as well, as the battle for 10th place starts to heat up. Wow, just getting a shot here from my producer, Paul Bedford, showing me the actual electricity supply in Dalmas on fire, which is of course one of the big issues that we're having here with our coverage and of course the internet service availability. It's hardly anything. This is the battle between Garbini and Baggioni. 5th place on track. And looks like Carlo Garbini with some big problems there in the form of Oz Baggioni, the poolman, right on his tail. Looking for a change up in that 5th place. Garbini has hung on to it for a while, but Baggioni once passed. It's Baggioni now applying pressure onto Garbini, looking for him to crack under that pressure as we got to the halfway stage of this race. It's an 8-lapper. We've completed 4 and we've got 4 to go. It's about 3.5 by the time they get to the dog bone. Big welcome to Edgar Petersen. Venice Robles back again, so is Kirsten Winstanley all the way from Cape Town. Ina Bronckhorst has joined us too, so thanks for that. And of course some comments coming through there on the Voice of Choice page, but also lots of comments coming through there on the up to 60 seconds page. Paul will be putting a couple of those comments up as we get into the heat of this race and continue the action at the front end. Absolutely amazing stuff here from BMW Car Club Racing Series. As I said, they're kind of in 2x2 racing at the moment. It's kind of Noah's Ark style. These two fighting for 5 and 6. The leaders have opened up a little bit of a margin, and Salvi Guertieri has pulled away slightly in the Sav Speed car over Jan Everstein. So the battle you're picking up on down into turn 1 there is literally the first actual dice that's happening on track. Everybody else is kind of split up ever so slightly. They're not quite as close as what they were. Baggioni trying to stay there with Garbini into turn 2. Garbini just keeping Oz Baggioni behind him for now. So we're watching this battle here between Carlo Garbini and Oz Baggioni for 5th place on track. Andreas Meyer just going over the line on a 2:04.7, only 7/10 of a second off his qualifying time from this morning, so he's up the pace slightly. He's pulled about 3.5 seconds now over Rick Larrell. And Larrell did a super job there in 2nd place in not his usual car. It's literally his hill climb car that he pulled out of storage and said, why don't we go and have some fun in this one for a change? Certainly looks like he is having some fun there and looking for chances to still be in contention by the end of this first heat of the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. Ian Cotwell now starting to close things down in the 235i. Should be a bit of a concern though. Looking in those rearview mirrors, I think Baggioni realizes that Cotwell's coming. Cotwell's taken a couple of races to develop that car, but it's certainly now becoming a big contender at the front end, and Ian Cotwell now starting to close down on 5th and 6th place battle. The 5th and 6th place battle at this point, of course, is just hanging on, and Garbini just keeping the attentions of Oz Bagioni at bay for now. But Bagioni realizes that now with Cotwell coming, he might need to up the pace himself, and he certainly looks like that's what he's doing. Sure, this is good stuff here between them as they cross the line. Bagioni now looking for a way to go on the inside. Is he close enough? He has a sniff, not quite close enough just yet, but definitely had a big look down into turn 1, and he'll be looking to pounce now with 2 laps to go. Behind that, it is Cotwell. He's right there with him. And Cotwell's not too far off the back end there, I can tell you, of this little battle. Looks like Everstein has also upped the pace slightly, closing on the back end now of Salvi Gutteri. Salvi Gutteri and the Sav Speed BMW being closed down by Everstein with about a lap and a half to go for them. Interesting to see whether or not that's going to be a change up there. I don't know, because I think the top end of the Sav Speed BMW is keeping him ahead of Jan Everstein. Everstein seems to have the handling, but on the straights, Salvi's just disappears and leaves that Silver Dream Racer behind him. Garbini, Bagioni and Cotwell still fighting for 5, 6 and 7. Cochrane is on his own in 8th. Neil Reynolds in 9, and Renier Smith first of the SAP vehicles, pursuit vehicles there, in the top 10. Looking at the way things stand at this point in time, we've got Class B's Andreas Meyer leading on Class B. Rick Larau, Salvi Gutteri also in Class B, will be in 3rd place. Then you've got Everstein in 4th place for Class B. Carlo Garbini ahead of Oz Bagioni. Bagioni just ahead there of the fight behind, and the fight behind is starting to rage there, I can tell you. Absolutely nothing in it there as we get into the closing stages of this first heat. Cotwell closing him down, and of course if we look at Cotwell, trying to pick him, he'll be the first of the Class C's. So Class C being led out by Ian Cotwell. If I'm not mistaken, Troy Cochrane will be 2nd, yes. And if I'm not mistaken, Neil Reynolds will be 3rd, correct. So that's the top 3 in those classes. Further back, Manny Ribeiro having a bit of fun and games of his own there with the 211 car of Nicholas Van Sale. But we need to be on standby after the next pass there from Andreas Meyer, because he has started his final lap. Andreas Meyer on the last lap now, and trying to pick up on where he is actually out on circuit, just seeing where they might have got to, those lead cars. Just trying to pick him up on the circuit as well for our producer. So 8-lap race about to be concluded here. Leaders going to be making their way onto the back straight. And looks like we're going to try and pick up on that action. Sav Speed BMW of Salvi Gutteri, and Jan Everstein still in the fight for 3rd. And Everstein trying to close him down and find a way past, but here comes the leader down that back straightaway. Should be heading into our sights any second now. Checkered flag will be on standby. And we'll be waiting for, of course, Andreas Meyer to come through there to take the first win of the day. Relatively plain sailing for him as he crosses the line. Checkered flag is out. And we take the victory. So I don't think we caught that one on camera though, but definitely across the line there was Andreas Meyer. Just waiting now for Rick Larau to come through. He'll be 2nd place. Here he comes. 2nd place there for Larau. And he'll take that 2nd spot. And I think he'd be pretty stoked with that, considering the fact that he wasn't going to be participating in his Class A contender. He came in a little Class B hill climb car. This is going to be Jan Everstein or Salvi Gutteri. Salvi Gutteri passing through there for 3rd. Just missing him as they came across the line though. But that brings us to the end of race 1 for the BMW Car Club Racing Series, proudly brought to you by Bridgestone and their associate sponsors. So as you can see, we are battling a little bit here, and this is the reason why. News just in from Eyewitness News. Electricity supply in Dalmas threatened by a transformer fire. And there you can see it right from the horse's mouth, bringing you the action. And the reason why we're battling here so badly with internet connection is that power supply there, of course, supplies power to all the cell phone towers around this area. And that's why we're battling a little bit with our internet connection. But we're still bringing you as much of the action as we can here from up to 60 seconds and on the Voice of Choices page. We hope you're enjoying all of it so far. And in a few minutes' time, back on track will be pre-81 saloons and the pre-90 sports and GTs. Welcome back to action here from Red Star Raceway. It's the Historic and Inland Regional Championships, and we're heading into heat number 2 now of the pre-81 Saloons and pre-90 Sports and GT category. First race of the weekend in this category went, of course, to Willie Hepburn, the man you see in picture there. And now just getting into lining up and formation for race number 2. Second place was all about Richard de Roos in the Porsche. A great battle between Stuart Koenig and Yannick van Rooyen in the 2 yellow Volkswagen Siroccos. They finished up 3rd and 4th respectively, and Marius Verwey finished up in 5th place in his R100. Johan Smith unfortunately had some issues, so he had to pull out of the first heat. Big pity to lose him. He had a great sounding Mazda Capella there that was looking for a chance to be probably in the hunt at the front, and unfortunately with some issues had to pull out and won't be joining us now for race number 2 either. Alan Green will also be looking for a chance to possibly be a little bit higher up than what he was. He was in a bit of a fight early on there with Devon Robertson on the right-hand side of your shot, the number 46 from Big Boss Auto, that little Datsun. I think it's a Stanza Triple S that he's running. And that little Datsun is very quick and was exceptionally quick off the line. In fact, went into turn number 1 in 3rd place from that position on the grid. So definitely watch out for Devon Robertson looking to start the proceedings here, ahead of René van Rensburg and Andre Tenapel. Andre Tenapel on the left-hand side in the white Volkswagen Sirocco. So we are under starters orders, and of course a big welcome to all of our sponsors for today, Universal Motorsport, and you'll see in a few minutes' time Casey's Auto from Benoni, the Mazda and Ford dealership, supplying us a Mazda course car and the brand new Ford Fiesta Trend as our official safety car and pace car today to set things off and have this big pack of cars behind it. Right at the back, keep an eye out on, of course, the Rian de Roux car. That is a Ford Prefect, and a new car to the series, Andre Danhauser in his Toyota for Pro Auto Rubber. Under starters orders now. As soon as that little Ford Fiesta Trend pulls off the circuit and into pit lane, it'll be over to Willie Hepburn to dictate the pace off the line. Remember, with a rolling start, they've got to maintain their acceleration out of the last corner. It's not quite the Bridgestone chicane that they'd come out of on a normal pass. Remember, they do a shortened version of the circuit for the warm-up lap. And now, under starters orders, they'll do that same warm-up lap to get the formation lap sorted and ready to go. Lights off and we're racing down towards turn 1. Great start from Willie Hepburn. Once again, it's a battle between the 2 Siroccos. Look at Devon Robertson trying to squeeze through there on the GX Coupe as well as the Ford Escort as they go down into turn 1. Not quite the same kind of start as we saw out of Devon Robertson, but definitely in with a chance as we get down towards turn 2. Hepburn leads out. De Roos under pressure already from the Sirocco. Yannick van Rooyen and Koenig with pressure coming from Alan Green. Marius Verwey in there with Devon Robertson. So Mazda R100, Datsun, Stanza, Triple S, Ford Escort, Mark 1, 2 Volkswagen Siroccos and a Porsche 911. That's the fight for second place, and any one of those cars could actually get up to second place. That's the incredible thing about pre-81s and pre-90s combined. Charles and Ilse Rutherford, and looks like Tyler Grung has also joined us too as part of the coverage that's going out here from Red Star Raceway. We do apologise, there is a little bit of a breakup, as we said, folks, and that's due to the fact that we just put up a picture of that transformer at the substation burning here in Delmas, which is affecting the cell phone towers and the power to those tower supplies, and of course the internet availability around the Mpumalanga area, just sort of north, south, east and west of the Red Star Raceway. Hepburn is the man to beat. Don't think anybody's got an answer to him right now, and of course the 78-year-old is going to be loving life at the front end of this field. But definitely a man that is setting the pace at the front end of the second pack is De Roos in the Porsche. And it looks like it's going to be Yannick van Rooyen at this point in time, who is going needle and tongs to try and catch up to the back end of the action for heat number 2. Sports and Saloons and the pre-90 Sports and GTs. Hepburn, De Roos, Van Rooyen, Koenig, Verwey, top 5. Alan Green in 6th, 7th place, Evan Robertson in the Big Boss Auto. Gatson stands at Triple S, and then it's Andre Tenapel. That's the third of those Volkswagen Siroccos. We're seeing De Roos now being closed down by Van Rooyen. Yannick van Rooyen's turned the wick up on that Volkswagen Sirocco for heat number 2 and wants to go at it on the Porsche. Definitely in with a chance if he stays with him after this amount of time. It's René van Rensburg in 9th and Neil Lobb in the Fiat Arbath up into 10th place. So nice drive there from Lobb so far to get back up into the top 10. Didn't quite qualify in the top 10. He finished in 16th place, but definitely in with a chance now of a top 10 and possibly even higher if he stays where he is. So De Roos now trying to pull away from Van Rooyen. Yannick van Rooyen being closed down by Koenig. It's kind of equidistant between 2, 3 and 4 as they go into the dog bone. Relatively evenly matched there between the 3 cars, fighting for a potential second place on track. I'll also be sorting out, of course, the classes. Remember, Willie Hepburn is a Class A competitor in the pre-90s. And both Koenig, Van Rooyen and De Roos, Koenig and Van Rooyen, both Class C competitors in pre-81s. So they're fighting for class honours as well as second overall on track, with De Roos, who is a pre-90s Class B competitor. So as it stands, we've got pre-90s A leading, that's Willie Hepburn. Pre-90s B in second, that's De Roos. And then pre-81 C's 1 and 2 in the form of Yannick van Rooyen and Stuart Koenig. And it's Marius Verwey, he's further back in the field. Marius Verwey, of course, a pre-81 Class D competitor. He is leading Class D and pulling away ever so slightly on the straight due to the top end of that Mazda R100 of his over Alan Green, who's got arguably one of the fastest Mark 1 escorts in the world, never mind in the country. And Alan Green, of course, is a Class D competitor. That's why he's fighting so hard there with Verwey. They cross the line, completing another lap. That's 2 down and 6 to go. Let's start yet to the second heat of pre-81 Saloons and pre-90 Sports and GTs. Alan Green in a bit of a fight here, big time. And Marius Verwey could be in a bit of trouble. The fight continuing there between that R100 and the Mark 1 Escort. Just going through some of my paperwork here as well, just looking at this class. Double check. Don't know if they've put the... No, they haven't put the years on. That's a bit of a pity. But great to see that they're fighting so hard. Here's another little fight that's starting to up the pace slightly. And the 73 car there is Tony London, looking for a way around on Rian Roux. Rian Roux, of course, participating and getting his money's worth today. Not only participating here in the pre-81s, but also participating in the Charlie's Super Spa Historic Series. So he's got Hepburn all over the back of him. Sean Hepburn looking for a chance now to spoil the day there for Rian Roux in the 4th Volkswagen Sirocco. Alan Green trying to close down for Verwey, just keeping him at bay for now. Hepburn doing it all right though. Coming out of the Bridgestone chicane and across the line to complete another lap. 3 down for Uncle Willie as he heads into turn number 1. We say Uncle Willie because remember, this man is now going into 78 years of age, and it's almost 5 decades of racing he's been participating in. It's absolutely incredible to see him still flying the proverbial racing flag high. Devin Robertson's just come below me and out of pit lane, so a bit of an issue there for the Big Boss Auto Stanza. He had to come in for a bit of an issue and get it sorted. He's back on track, but that's definitely not going to help him out. It's going to drop him right out of the top 10. Kind of puts him back into the pack where he would have left, bar 1 or 2 cars, but he's now 4th place. Make that 5th place on track, but a lap down. Just behind the 2 Siroccos. And just ahead of Fave and Alan Green. Certainly Devin Robertson would only have come in had there been a major issue on that car. Two Siroccos back onto the short straight now and heading down towards the hairpin at turn 6. And on that last pass, by the looks of things, Stuart Koenig might have got through on Yanni van Rooyen. Or have we got a change-up yet again? Yeah, it is definitely confirmation of that one. Koenig ahead of van Rooyen. Neil Lobb now being closed down by, is that Marco Fave? I think it is. Marco Fave starting to close down on Neil Lobb for potential top 10. Marco in that GX Coupe, Neil in the Fiat. His time's looking good as well. I'm not quite sure what's happening with Speed Hive. We keep dropping and changing here between live and previous results. 2:19.5s out of Marco Fave, 2:19.6s out of Neil Lobb, so definitely closing on Lobb. Is there enough time there for Neil Lobb to maybe maintain a top 10? Or single digits, in fact. He'll still have a chance of a top 10 even if Fave gets through him, but he'd like to be in the single digits. Willie Hepburn, fastest lap of the race as we go to the man in the lead of this race. 2:03.55 out of Willie Hepburn. Not quite the lap pace he had in qualifying this morning. Getting down to a 2:01.4 in the qualifying trim this morning for the big Sabat Opel record. Disappearing at the front end here, relatively unscathed. Battle for 5th place starting to rage a bit again. We have got Devin Robertson just ahead of them, but Fave and Green definitely getting back into each other's throats there. Alan Green closing down on Marius Fave there for 5. And the 5th place battle, of course, could sort things out in terms of Class D honours too. Ooh, bit of sideways action, left and right, getting it a little bit lit up there, but fortunately back on track. And I think that may have been, just looking back there, it was just the car just behind Rian Roux, Tony London. Tony London out of shape there, coming out of turn number 3. We didn't quite get it on camera, but just got to see it in my peripheral vision, having been set up here on the grandstand on the left-hand side of the Red Star Raceway control tower. So we're coming into the second half of this race. We've got 5 done, and make that, as you can see, it's just chopping and changing between live timing and original results. So Willie Hepburn has completed 5 of the allotted 8 laps. Richard Durus and the 2 Siroccos have done the same thing now as they pass below me. And Durus at this point in time just maintaining a decent enough gap to stay away from the battle between Koenig and Van Rooyen. Vervain Green going down towards turn 1. There is Yanni Van Rooyen. Headed up towards turn 4. His early pace was good, but looks like he's lacking a bit of late race pace here to stay with Koenig. Two Siroccos onto the short straight. Yeah, it was definitely Tony London went off as he came across the line there. You could actually hear the exhaust pipe loose on his car. So it looks like Tony London with a bit of issues. It's a new car. Oh, we got a spinner. Is that? Yeah, that's the Porsche. That was the Porsche, I think, of second place, Richard de Roos, who spun out, which is possibly going to move up the two Siroccos into second and third. Unfortunately, we just can't go back for an action replay, but there was definitely a Porsche spun out, and there's only one Porsche in this race, and that's de Roos. So Richard de Roos spinning out there, and that's definitely not what we wanted. Certainly not what he wanted. So de Roos spinning out, getting back on track. But now loses second and third place to the two Siroccos, and the gap has opened up between those Siroccos and the Porsche. It's now Yanni Van Rooyen going, hang on a second, if the Porsche spun out, that means I've got a possibility of a second place. So expect to see the wick turned up here from Yanni Van Rooyen to close things down on Stuart Koenig in the first of those Volkswagen Siroccos. Coming across the line in his second now, Willie Hepburn's already taken another lap down, but there goes the Pro Auto Rubber Toyota of Andre Danhauser, who's been caught and passed by Willie Hepburn, and about to be done the same thing by Stuart Koenig and Yanni Van Rooyen. And as they cross the line, confirmation it was de Roos that spun out. Now whether or not that Porsche's got going again, we'll wait and see. The Prefect runs wide just in front of me too. He had, and will he be able to get past the Sirocco? Yeah, just a little bit of extra top end there from the Porsche gets him through on Van Rooyen and up to third. Putting that 911 now in the meat of the sandwich of the two Siroccos. De Roos made mincemeat literally out of Van Rooyen's Volkswagen Sirocco. But let's have a look and see if there's going to be a similar maneuver here on the back end of Stuart Koenig. Koenig gets good drive out of that bottom turn, heading up towards the back straightaway now. Watch for the turn of pace here from the Porsche. As it gets into the top end, it should go past the Sirocco. Oh, coming up on the Prefect though. Rion de Roos just causing a little bit of concern there between the two before they had a go. And de Roos back to second. So Richard de Roos diving on the inside and getting back into second place now with a lap to go. Hepburn has decimated this field. Kind of self-explanatory because of the power of that car and there's so much grunt available to Willie Hepburn in the Class A Pre-90 Sports and GT Opel record. That big V8. No replacement for displacement. Yellow flags at turn 5. Could possibly be a car in trouble there at turn 5. We'll wait and see if that's the case because the... Oh! De Roos out of shape. De Roos out of... He's got a problem. Richard de Roos has got a problem on that car. Remember, I mentioned it earlier on. We've got issues on that Porsche which we need to keep one eye on. Just let Daryl know we've got to keep an eye on that Porsche battle with the Siroccos because the Porsche seems to have a bit of a problem. I know it's Willie Hepburn's last lap, but let's go back to second, third because looks like Richard de Roos might have a bit of an issue there. As we can pick up on that one if we can. There you go. It's potentially a bit of an issue there for the Porsche. It's under braking in and pulled a bit of a margin now, and of course the acceleration on the straight allows him to get away. But he's definitely got a bit of a handling problem on that Porsche, has Richard de Roos. We're going to take Willie Hepburn to the line though. As Hepburn gets onto the back straight for the last time. The last time today for we see the Opel record, the Sabat Opel record of Willie Hepburn in full flight. I don't think it's in full flight at the moment though down that back straight. Earlier on it would have been in full flight. And Hepburn, I think, getting to sort of the 280 km/h mark before he climbs on the anchors here into Bridgestone chicane. Great performance here from the old man in the mountains. Definitely a man to watch out for, even though he's 78 years of age. Across the line, Hepburn takes the victory and wins out the pre-90 saloon cars, the sports and GT category out of pre-90s, and the overall win for sports and saloons in the pre-81s and sports and GT category. So it's Hepburn to take the win. Will de Roos still be able to come through? Yes, he will. Only just with a small handling issue. I wonder if there might be a slow puncture on that car. That's probably why he's just battling slightly, but he comes across the line. Needless to say, in second place in class B of the pre-90s. That's second place overall for him. And then it's Stuart Koenig who just comes through to beat out an incredible dice between the Volkswagen Siroccos of himself and Yannick van Rooyen. So that brings us to the end of this second heat of pre-81s and the pre-90 sports and GTs. We hope you enjoyed the coverage. In a few minutes' time, we'll be back on track with the Lotus Challenge and see whether or not Jeff Kruger can turn his luck around for race number 2. Yeah, just at the end though, we could have stayed with the second battle as opposed to going with Willie. Because those two Siroccos were closing on the Porsche, it was a little bit more exciting. Not amazing. Not amazing. No, no worries. I'll go with what you give me, but I'm not scared. I'll talk about it anyway, even if it's happy, because if you don't see it, you don't see it. It's not amazing. Not a problem.
Internet connection is up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I can see it.
And then it tries to slow.
No, I can see it all the time.
Tries to slow it down to at least be able to send something out of Facebook, and then it goes all jerky.
Check Robbie's car. She got tagged from the front when she spun up. Although it's trying to avoid her hit her. She's hurt her wrist apparently. She's not racing, but Jeff's car should be fixed.
What was wrong with it?
Something broke, side shock, so we got involved in it. He just circulated to get points because Thomas is not here. So Thomas not being there, he's not going to lose the lead at the championship. He's still going to maintain it. It's fixed, he'll be there. No, we can?
If you just joined us, there is our hassle, please bear with us. It's not our problem. Director
Continued action now from the historic and inland regionals here at Red Star Raceway, and this is the reason why we're battling so badly with the internet feed. Our internet towers, of course, around us have been hindered slightly here by what you can see on screen. Electricity supplies in Delmas threatened by a transformer fire at their main substation. So we are working around whatever internet availability is given to us. And we're doing the best that we can, and hope you're enjoying all of the action that has been provided so far here, courtesy of the team of Up to 60 Seconds and yourself. And all the people that have joined us from all around the world. We certainly hope you've enjoyed the action that has come here from Red Star Raceway here today. It's Heat 2 now of the Lotus Challenge, and it's all proudly brought to you by Vibro Brick and Paving. It's L33T Racing, Barney's Property and Development Rental, AA, and AB Baby. First heat, just to run through what happened in the first heat. Remember, we had a big incident in turn number 6 in the first heat. Robin Creel spinning out for Universal Motorsport. And due to the fact that she spun out, a whole bunch of cars tried to take evasive action and were caught in the fracas that happened straight after that. Her brother, Jeff Kruger, who was on pole position, unfortunately couldn't capitalize on that pole position and had some issues with his car. A breakage in one of the engine compartments, and had to be re-welded and all sorted out now after the gap between race 1 and 2. He'll be looking to turn his luck around and hopefully go to the front end as quickly as possible to take on the battle that ensued after his demise between Mackie Adlam and Rudy Barnard. What a great battle there between the two of them. They really put on a great show. Just behind that, of course, was a little bit of a fight as well between David Kutsia and Sean Hewitt, and Sean Hewitt eventually coming through for a 3rd place in the first heat of Lotus Challenge. Will it be more of the same? We'll wait and see. A big hello to my queen and to Anthony Nell. Lynette has joined us as well. Thank you so much, Lynn, for coming to join us here. I saw your other half on a bit earlier on, and of course a big welcome to Vanna Hinnop from True Race, who's joined us too. He's come to see what we're doing here without him, because he's normally part of our team when we do the South African Endurance Series, and that'll be in a few weeks' time as we go to Desi's Raceway, and all that action, of course, will be out on the South African Endurance page, and that happens on the first weekend of October. And if I remember, it's the 2nd and 3rd of October that you need to be tuning in for action from there. It's a standing start, so the lights are about to go on, and we're about to go racing for Heat 2 of Lotus Challenge. Class B's with a bit of a gap down to Class L. You can see 6 of them still in contention here. And make it 7, because you've got Mackie Adlam just on the right-hand side of that shot, just out of shot in terms of what's going out there at the moment. And lights out, and we're racing. It's a good start. Looks like it's going to be Rudy Barnard, though, who's going to outgun his teammate down towards turn 1. As they get towards turn 1, is it going to be Barnard or is it going to be Adam? No, they're going to be side by side as they go out of turn 1. Looking to see the progress there of Jeff Kruger, the championship leader. Remember, he's a 4-time back-to-back champion in this class, and now looking for his 5th championship in all, as he really moves up into what is going to be 4th place. Squeezing Sean Hewitt out now, putting the pressure onto the back end of Andre Himan as they start the 2nd heat of racing. Kruger already up into 4th place and looking to hopefully remedy the ails of that car in race number 1. Pity that his sister Robin Creel couldn't make it back out again. She's got a slightly injured wrist, but I had a chat to her in the lunch break. She seems to be okay, but the car unfortunately is second hand. You can actually see pictures of that car up on the Universal Racing Facebook page. It's just been gone up, and a couple of damaged photos of that race car, and unfortunately Robbie out of this one, but she'll be looking on the sideline and shouting probably as loud as Monique, John, and of course Dion Creel, her husband, for Jeff Kruger to make his way to the front end. He's got up to 3rd. As he goes down that back straightaway, the short straight that is, into turn 6, he's made his way up into 3rd place and onto the tailpiece now of what is Rudy Barnard versus Mackie Adlam. The Ranfantine battle here. And the 2 Adlam Auto cars going at it door for door, banging if they can, trying not to bang into each other, but of course it's race action. That is always what happens in Lotus Challenge. Top quality stuff coming out of the Lotus Challenge as always, and now looking to see what's going to happen at the end of this 2nd race of the day. Adlam, Barnard, that's how they started, but it's Barnard, Adlam, and Jeff Kruger was down in 6th place. He's already up to 3rd. He's made up 3 positions in the space of 1 lap, and potentially could even get into the slipstream here of Mackie Adlam. If he's good enough on the brakes, could have a go into the Bridgestone chicane. Late braking from Adlam, closes in on Barnard, and change up for the lead. Mackie gets through. Mackie Adlam diving through for the lead, and here comes Jeff Kruger along for the ride. There's going to be a 3-way tussle here. This is exactly what I expected in the first heat. But unfortunately, as I said, with that breakage in Jeff Kruger's car, he wasn't able to run there. Now he's in the slipstream. He pulls out of that slipstream and goes on Barnard's inside, diving for the lead, possibly for the overall lead as well, as he gets on the inside of Barnard. He goes to second place and tucks in, and that Universal Motorsport machine becomes the meat and the sandwich between the two Auto Adlam cars out front. Barney's Property and Development, of course, involved in that team too, as they come through the right-hander out of turn 2, flick it across into the left-hander at turn 3, and Kruger's applying pressure onto the leader. Jeff Kruger wants past and he wants to get away. He wants to do the normal thing that Kruger would do, and that's lead from the front and open up a margin that he can control. Right now, he's not in control. Oh, he has a little dive into turn 4, shows a wheel. Adlam saw him coming, just blocked it. Wasn't going to give up too much room there to the multiple champion on his tail. Multiple V8 saloon car and supercar champion, of course, leading this race. Oh, running wide slightly there was Jeff Kruger. Just made a small mistake, lost him the drive, but looks like he's just been able to hang. Has he been able to hang on? I don't quite see. The screen is now becoming a bit of a glare issue here, so I think he's gone down to third place. He did make a mistake, maybe missed a gear coming out of turn 5, and that's given a chance once again to Rooney Barnard to get up onto the tailpiece of his teammate. So it's Barnard in second. Jeff Kruger with a missed gear coming out of turn 5, and that allowed Barnard just to go past him. He got back into the right gear and goes back into third place, but he's now got to make up that ground again. Has something gone wrong on that car? I'm hoping not, but Jeff Kruger certainly will be wanting to be in the race lead battle as opposed to the third place battle that he's dropped back to. Let's see whether or not he can make that one stick now as they come into the back straight. Back straight action now as they head down that back straightaway. Adlam from Barnard. Mackie Adlam controlling things from the front this time. Jeff Kruger on the last pass at a 2:10, fastest lap of the race so far. Remember, these guys qualified in 2:05, so they're not quite up to the same pace as they've got out of qualifying earlier on today. Let's see, it is Kruger who's there in third. And looks like he's got the pace back again ahead of Sean Hewitt and David Kutsia. That's the first 5 across the line. First 5 in Class B as well. Tinas Buerta's in 7th place. And then it's a long gap down. To Peter Van Aert. See Jeff Kruger down in 8th place. I'm not quite sure if that's right. I don't think they're picking up on Kruger's car there in the 3rd place, but he is definitely under pressure. In fact, it is Kruger who's dropped out of it. Apologies on that one. As they cross the line there, it looks like that issue's come back again. Whatever they've done to repair the car might not have been a full race distance availability on that repair. And Jeff Kruger now down to 8th place in between Peter Van Aert and Miles Downard. Tinas Buerta's in 10th. So Kruger's going to just stick on track and try and circulate to get as many points as he can for Class B. He's not going to lose the lead of the championship. Remember, his closest rival, Thomas Falconer, not being here this weekend. And with the luck not going Jeff Kruger's way, it hasn't worked out for Thomas Falconer. If he'd been here, he could have probably capitalized on Kruger and his demise into the mid-pack as opposed to where he normally is at the front end of a race. So it's Barnard and Adlam continuing the fight that they had in the first heat. Just behind that, look at the battle for Class L. It's Andre Duplessis who leads things out over Peter Van Aert. The Vibro car doing a great job there, but just not quite closing down on the 25 machine out front. So 25 is Andre Duplessis, and he hangs on for now for Class L honours. Two of them just ahead of Jeff Kruger, according to the timing monitor. If I look on track, it's about what the timing monitor should be telling us. Leaders across the line one more time. Another lap completed there by the two of them just below me. 3 down, 5 to go. Andre Hemon still in 3rd. Sean Hewitt 4 and David Kutsia still 5. coming into turn 5 now. Triple left-hander. Very difficult corner to get right in any form of motorsport, but looks like Rudy Barnard and Mackie Adlam have found a special line through there, as they're starting to open up about a 5-second lead now over third place Andre Himon. Himon not having an answer there. Sean Hewitt 3 seconds further adrift on Himon, and then another 4.5 seconds or so to David Kutsia in 5. Kruger's got through on Duplessis and on Peter Van Aert on that last pass, so he's made his way back up into 6th place overall, just ahead now of the Class L battle. So Kruger just trying to get as many points in the bag as possible. It's probably going to be a 6th place again for him, which is going to give him 6 points, or points for 6th place, that is. Not ideal, but will definitely not lose him the championship, and he still can fight at the next round of this championship for the Lotus Challenge. Still Adlam and Barnard going at it. Barnard not closing down on Mackie Adlam just yet, but maybe waiting. Maybe just biding his time. He was able to get through in the closing stages in race number 1. Andre Duplessis on the sideline there. Sorry, where's nice son? Yep, there you go. And top 2 head on towards turn 1 again. Barnard definitely closing though. It was 0.7 of a second on the last pass. They've just crossed the line at 0.4 of a second between the two of them. Here comes Jeff Kruger. Whatever the issue is, looks like he's sorted it out, because he's just gone past David Kutsia relatively easily down into turn 1. So Jeff Kruger has definitely sorted out whatever the issue is on that car and could potentially still get back up into a top 3. He's got Sean Hewitt just up the road from him. And Hewitt's got, of course, Andre Himon not too far up the road from there. Kruger crossed the line 17 seconds off the pace of the leaders. So it puts him about 6 seconds behind Sean Hewitt. And the way he's driving at the moment, looks like he's definitely got intentions of being on the podium. So Kruger comes out of the triple left-hander, gets onto the short straight. And looks like he is now going to turn his attentions onto Sean Hewitt just up the road from him. Class L still continuing there, as you can see. Duplessis and Van Aert going at it. The Vibro car now putting the pressure onto the man out front. Looking for a chance to get through on him if he can. As they come into the dog bone section now, definitely a lot more pressure being applied there by Peter Van Aert. And trying to go around the outside. Sure, great driving there. Looking for a way on the inside into the dog bone to get the drive out of the second part of that dog bone section. Is it going to be a change up for Class L's leadership here too? Top 2 are onto the back straight, heading towards Bridgestone chicane and about to complete another lap. We're over the halfway stage now with 5 down and 3 to go. Class L about to come onto that back straight as well. And the Class L battle definitely starting to rage between Duplessis and Van Aert. They come onto that back straight now. Slipstream City with the Class L competitors. Low-cost chassis in those 7s. And yeah, look how evenly matched they are. There's just no room or inch to get by. You've got to wait for a mistake from your competitor in front of you, and there's hardly any that come out of Andre Duplessis. He's a seasoned campaigner in this category. But Van Aert is applying the pressure big time as they come across the line. He goes left and right, but he goes to the left-hand side, which is the outside line for turn 1. Watching to try and cut back and possibly get through with a drive out of turn 1 towards turn 2. Let's see if he's able to make that one stick. The Vibro car comes on the inside now, looking for a way. That's great driving from him. Is he good enough on the brakes, though? Duplessis is exceptionally good on the brakes. It just keeps him out. A fantastic fight here between the two Vibro boys. You can see just how hard they're pushing. And lovely to see this kind of action in Class L. Another lap down for these guys. Remember, they've still got 2.5 to go when they get to turn 5 and 6 here. Short squirt down the little straight. Looks like Andre Duplessis got a little bit of a better top end. But look at the braking coming out of Van Aert as they get down into turn 6. Closes that gap down almost instantly. So Duplessis at this point in time hanging on. Mackie Adlam and Rudy Barnard, they should be coming into the chicane right now and across the line. As we see the L guys heading down into the dog bone. Here they come. Top 2 with 2 to go. First 2 guys with 2 laps to go. Adlam with 0.476 of a second over Barnard. 3rd place, still Andre Heman. Sean Hewitt still in 4. Looks like David Coetzee got back ahead of Jeff Kruger. So Kruger's problem seems to be intermittent. He gets it going and then it kind of dies on him and then it comes back again. So top 2 going into turn 4 as 3 and 4 come out of turn 3 and 4 respectively. Battle for 5th place starting to heat up as well as Kruger closes back on David Coetzee. Round the outside of turn 4. That's a brave move there from Jeff Kruger. It becomes the inside for turn 5. And he makes it stick as we're watching the 2 lead cars go down into turn 6. So battles all through the field. And Barnard now looking for a way past on Adlam. Adlam shuts the door. Very close between the 2 of them now with a lap and about 4 corners to go. Are they going to share the spoils here today? Or is Barnard going to look for 2 out of 2? Oh, sorry, is Adlam going to look for 2 out of 2? Or are they going to share the spoils? Barnard, of course, is the man who came through for 2nd place in race number 1. And look down on the pit wall, and the Adlam Auto team are shouting their brains out. You can probably hear the youngsters in the background. That's the youngsters of both Barnard and Adlam shouting for their dads. And there's a move. Rudy Barnard gets up the inside of Mackie Adlam. Adlam comes back at him. They side by side out of Bridgestone. That is very close racing here between the Lotus boys. Brilliant stuff into the final lap. 1 to go. 4 kilometers of racing. And Barnard and Adlam are locked in a 2-way battle for the lead of this race. That's great stuff to see. This is the kind of action you always expect to see. It's normally between Thomas Faulkner and Jeff Kruger, but today it's all about the Adlam Auto team. Rudy Barnard going to place that car and make it as wide as 2 Lotus 7s. Make it a Lotus 14 if he can, to keep out his teammate, Mackie Adlam. Down into turn 4. Late break, a little twitch on the brakes there from Barnard. And Adlam can see he is concerned. This is a top-class finish here to some fantastic racing coming out of the Lotus Challenge today. Down the short straight. Adlam's on it. And looking for a chance to get through. Can he make a way? Oh, he's so close. Having to go around the outside. Late braking. Watch for the cutback. Coming towards a little left-hand kink. They're on the inside. There's Adlam on the outside now. Barnard's making him go around the outside and the hard way around. He makes his way through and he makes it stick. Does he? Oh, no. Barnard up the inside. And then he puts a wheel in there. So Rudy Barnard and Mackie Adlam going into the dog bone now with Adlam leading things out. This is phenomenal racing from these 2. They really are putting on a good show. They're on to the final lap. They've got 4 corners to go. Heading onto the back straight any second now. Will Rudy Barnard try a slipstream maneuver here on his teammate? No team orders here. All you can hear in the background of the youngsters is, go Papa, go, go Papa, go. That's exactly what they're doing. They're going. Barnard, late on the brakes. Can he get on the inside? He is. He's on the inside of Adlam. Is Adlam going to give him some room? Oh, it's so late on the brakes there from Rudy Barnard. He squeezes him out. They're going to come side by side. Same kind of maneuver. It's the drive to the line now. Oh, there's a touch! Oh, they've touched coming out of the chicane. Adlam going in the back. They are side by side, and what a formation finish there between the two of them. 0.119 of a second between Adlam and Barnard. Adlam takes the victory. Barnard gets second. But that is just unbelievable action coming from the Lotus Challenge here at Red Star Raceway. Third place is Andre Heeman. He's all on his own, a couple of seconds back. And it's Sean Hewitt just on his tail. Jeff Kruger to finish up top 5 there for Kruger. Nice recovery and a turnaround there for him for the Universal Motorsport team. And David Coetzee will finish up in 6th place for Class B. Let's watch for the action now. Coming into the chicane. Into the chicane for Class L. Class L still to be sorted out. 2 leaders in Class L heading towards the chicane now. Any second now. Here they come. Into Bridgestone chicane. Expect some big action here for Class L as well. As they come to the line, Andre Duplessis and Peter Van Aert still going at it. Duplessis with the inside line, hangs on, coming out of the chicane. Is there going to be a drive to the line? Is he going to be able to make it stick? Yes, he is. It is Peter Van Aert who comes through to beat Andre Duplessis to the line. So a change up for honours in Class L there. Van Aert takes it for the Vibro team, winning things out over Andre Duplessis. And a great drive out of Miles Downard, who'll come through for 3rd place in Class L. We'll be back shortly with more action coming from the historic Pursuit Series and Charlie Super Spa. it's nice that, eh? It's not as good as my Coke and water pH mixed with H2O dash sunlight. Not that it's the greatest comment in the world, but Gary Fleming says, like the camera work, min cameras, but well operated.
Yeah, these guys are good.
No, they could, eh? It's fucking proper.
Yeah, and cameras because they're in their money.
That works, right?
But really, you need at least 3. We're short 1.
I think if we had 3 years, we'd be able to do a proper good job.
3 with this.
Yeah, with this.
3 with this.
Possibly even another one of those somewhere else, just locked out on a shot. Wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, could be that.
I would say the last one, because you've then got an option of going a head-on shot, but lock it out wide, so you still got the chicane going through. This might be an option to think about. It can be a wide shot, but it's a nice shot to have.
But that's another dish.
Oh, here. No, it's all cost, I know. That's all cost. I'm just between the 3 of us here. There's a lot of tenants that are highly upset, including next weekend and last weekend, even more so, about the fact that we didn't get live streaming last weekend. And they haven't confirmed with David whether we're live streaming next week for Extreme
No, what he's
Fest.
going to do with it? Because if they take forever to fix that for
And he's on a kind of, I think he's on an OB, so it's like there's a truck as well as cable that he's running, or fibre that he's running. So I don't know. But as I said, it's not been confirmed. I had a voice over with him on Thursday. He said, enjoy it. Looks like a nice. Right. This is all they want. They don't want TV anymore. They just want live stream. Fuck around. You're paying it for nothing. Why must I pay addition for shit?
And in fact, the production for it is more
It is. What more?
so it makes sense.
What's the many times you want, whenever you want? That's the difference.
Yeah, once it's there, it's there.
You don't have to have put it on DVR. Or you don't have to record it on VHS. It's for the ability.
It's so one you can always steal it.
Oh, you can. Well, you can steal off YouTube. You just steal it off YouTube. That's the best way to do it. You get better quality of YouTube.
except for us today, but streaming
Yeah, but don't worry about that.
shit quality for you. At least you get something.
We get something. That's all we want.
Yeah, after the last
When I said to Daryl, you know, what I did on the top of this bridge with my gimbal and my phone, people absolutely laughed. So to go this much better, they're going to be raving about it. They're going to love it. I mean, the comments that I've been getting is just non-stop good. It doesn't mean one bad thing. Right, people all over the world watching.
Yeah.
Tony, just be careful the Castrol underneath that centrifuge. I'll get where I go. I'll find. There'll be a pittance. There'll be a pittance somewhere. Welcome back to action here from Red Star Raceway. A little apologies for the break in proceedings here, but we have had some big issues here in Dalmas, Mpumalanga, South Africa, as one of the transformers at the local substation has caught alight and is blazing, which is affecting the ability to give power to the region, as well as to the all-important cell phone towers that we rely on to give you the live stream. So we're doing the best we can. We hope you've enjoyed all the action so far. Big thanks to Gary Fleming for those kind words from Second Gear. MZ Fenta has just joined us as well, and there's a whole bunch of people watching us up to 60 seconds on the Voice of Choice, and we're sharing it on a couple of platforms as well, including a YouTube channel, which will give us a little bit of a bigger reach in terms of what we're doing here today as part and parcel of the round of the historic and inland regional championships here at Red Star Raceway in Mpumalanga, South Africa. First heat of this one. Rob Clark, the Citroen on your right-hand side, that is number 66, parked on the sideline before the light even went out. Clive Winterstein circulated relatively quickly and stayed at the front almost until the end. He would come through for a third place, but issues for some Porsches in the background were big problems that we picked up on. Abbott, of course, that orange and black 914 Porsche just rolling slightly forward, broke out of his allotted time. So did Mr. Duplessis Sr., who unfortunately has not made his way back onto the grid for race 2 in his 944. Werner Hutzenberg in the 928, the black Porsche 928 with the white stripe down the front of it, the Cobra stripe down the front, also broke out, as did Sean Hepburn, the little GX Datsun behind him. So the victory eventually went to the car right at the back of the field there, that sort of mint green Volkswagen Sirocco of Rian Roux. Second place went to Cola de Klerk in the 300Z, just ahead of him. And third place went to the 912 356A Porsche of Clive Winterstein. Is that going to be the same this time out? We'll wait and see. A slightly depleted field of cars here now for the second heat of the Charlie Super Spa Historic Pursuit Series. If you've never watched one of these races before and you've just joined us here on our live stream, the way things work in an historic and handicapped version of racing is, of course, the slowest car in qualifying, which was Devon Martin, but he's no longer in the grid. It's now handed over to Rob Clark in the Citroen. He will be the first car off. And then there will be an allocated time per driver and per car as to when they leave the start line, which is on the left-hand side of the main straight. As they go, it's due to their lap times and the percentages of the fastest lap and slowest lap combined. And how they work it out is that if they've got their maths right and everything works out according to plan, all of the cars lined up line astern right now should cross the line at the same time. That's if, of course, the mathematicians have got all of their calculations correct. If that is the case, looks like we're waiting for Duplessis Sr., who's been caught out a little bit there from a timing point of view in the 944. He's going to make his way around to his starting position, which will be, I think, just ahead of that 914 Porsche, down in about 7th place. So it looks like Werner Duplessis Sr. is going to be out on track in that 944, number 7. He's, of course, one of the 4 cars that broke out. The first 4 cars across the line actually broke out. So they were all, unfortunately, not classified in race number 1. So they'll be looking to turn their luck around here as well. The calculations have been done. You can see the start man moving across over to the Citroen. We can see Werner Duplessis Sr., I beg your pardon, making his way around to take up his position on the grid. Yeah, a couple of cars behind me as well. I'm a bit concerned there'll be some more cars starting to come out a little bit late for start procedure, but if they're not out yet, I think they're going to have to be started from pit lane and right at the back behind the scratch car of Rian Roux. We are under starters orders now. Any second now, we're going to get the first car off. There goes Rob Clark in the Citroen. Not too far behind him will be, of course, Clive Winterstein in the 356A Porsche. Rob Clark driving in the Citroen. It's got Sorrel on the side. That's because Sorrel van der Merwe actually drove one of those cars in a production car during his race career. So it's a replica of the original Sorrel van der Merwe Citroen. Winterstein, de Klerk and Rob Clark should have about a lap in hand before the scratch car at the back of the field gets going. Winterstein itching to go, now having to wait. As Rob Clark comes out of turn number 4, or heads towards turn 4. Winterstein still waiting to go. Having done a few of these races in my racing career, I can tell you sitting on the grid right now waiting to go is the worst part of this race. Because the mind plays games with you and you think to yourself, there's no way I'm going to be able to make up an entire lap and still get past the driver and still get back in front to take the victory. And that's exactly what Rian Roux at the back of that grid is thinking. Winterstein's engine starting to pick up the revs slightly. Shouldn't be too much longer before the Porsche gets going. Start man about to send him on his way. Josh de Klerk behind that. Then it's the Marauder of the hard charging. And certainly a man to watch out for. Willem van Niekerk. 31 will be Tiaan Vermeulen as Winterstein eventually gets going. Just looking to see where Clark had got to. He's out of the dog bone section of the circuit as Winterstein heads down. So it's about 3/4 of a lap of this 4K circuit at Red Star Raceway that our lead man has got, Rob Clark in the Citroen. He's onto the back straight. Josh de Klerk will be the next car off as soon as he gets the wave to go. Still waiting patiently here. As I said, this is the worst part of a handicap race. You know that the first 2 cars have gone and you're thinking to yourself, how far ahead are they going to be from me? Winterstein coming out of turn 4, heading towards turn 5. Rob Clark about to come across the line to complete the first lap. And every one of the cars, bar one, has not gone yet. Josh de Klerk goes straight after him, heading down towards turn 1. So he has got a lap and 1 corner to make up and still get through on the car that led things out. The Marauder now, waiting to go. In Team Gunston colours, heads down towards turn number 1. 31, Tiaan Vermeulen. In a 280Z. We're getting the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Vermeulen pulls off and heads down towards turn 1. Right behind him is the 50 car. Similar machine for Frans Venter. Wynand du Plessis Senior behind that in the 944. Then it's the 914. Which of the Abbotts is behind the wheel of the car this time? Is it Doug? Is it Ian? Or is it Tim? Or is it Jen? We don't know. Any one of the Abbotts could be behind the wheel. Just going to see if I can pick up who it is. It's either Doug or Tim. I don't think Jen's behind the wheel of this one this time. Werner Hartzenberg will be the next car down towards turn 1 in the 928 Porsche. He's about to be sent on his merry way. And gets going nicely off the line. Sean Hepburn not too far behind him. And then it'll be Cola de Klerk. .300ZX. So top competitor in this class is Cola. He's done a lot of work in this class, particularly in that 300ZX of his. Got second place to the man who's about to leave behind him, Rian Roux. in the Volkswagen Sirocco, and that's the whole pack down towards turn 1. Not such a great gear change there from Rube, but he gets going nonetheless. And Kohler takes back, gets onto the same lap as Clive Winterstein, the second car off the line. But a lot of work now to do for him to close back again and pass him and try and find a way through on Rob Clark, who led things out. Thanks, Rob Vanal, for sending us the information and giving us an update from the breakout point of view. The breakout times have not changed. They will stay the same allocations as what they had in their first ones. No one has gone and changed their breakout times for the allocated breakout times that they were given. So Rob Clark has allocated himself a 179, which will be... looking at the way things go there, that'll be 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, just under 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 59 seconds is what Rob Clark has allocated himself as his breakout, because he qualified on a what did he qualify on? He qualified on a 3 minute dead. So 2:59 is not a bad time to allocate to that car. Clive Winterstein has allocated a 162, which will be 2 minutes and 22 seconds. 2 minutes and 32 seconds. No, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So give it to us in seconds. I've got to try and work it out in the minutes. So Rob Clark being caught now by the Marauder, as you can see on screen, as we try and work out who's got to do what here. Josh de Klerk allocated a 154.4. So that'll be 2 minutes and 34 seconds he's got to play with. Willem van Niekerk in the Marauder is doing a 152.9. And he'll be doing 2 minute 29s. 2 minute 22.9s is what he's got to be watching out for. Remember, if they allocate themselves a lap time, they cannot go faster than that allocated time. So very difficult to keep that in mind. And remember, none of these cars are allowed to carry lap timers in their cockpits. So it's basically the look and feel of the car and what you think a fast lap will feel like and what you think a breakout time would feel like as well. Josh pushing hard. Hepburn pushing hard as well. If you're looking to not break out of this race. He broke out of the first heat along with Abbott, Duplessis Senior and Hartzenberg. Van Niekerk doing a really good job there in the Team Gunston Marauder. Winterstein also piloting his 356 Porsche around nicely. Trying to maintain second on the road for now. He'll probably be able to do that up until about the last lap and a half or lap or so, because that's what he did in the first heat. And with no changes there, as Magda Otto joins us. Big welcome to you, ma'am. And to Esme Fenter. Hope you've enjoyed all the action so far. As I said, we do apologize for some of the breakup that we've had in the proceedings for today, but if you look onto Eyewitness News, you will see what we've had to deal with, because there is a picture of the burning transformer in the Delmas substation just outside of the circuit. So no power available to the circuit. We've been running on generators all day long, and also running on generators, I'm sure, for the cell phone towers that we are relying on to give us the internet accessibility that we need. Duplessis Senior across the line completes another lap. And things looking good at the front end here. Just getting our little feedback for Speed Hive. Clark out front, currently lapping in the 301s. Winterstein lapping on the 245s. Josh de Klerk 235s. Willem van Niekerk 243s. Frans Venter 230s. Wynand Duplessis. Ooh. Duplessis is already on to his allocated time for breakout at 2:27 as his fastest lap so far. So Senior could be in trouble already, and he's only completed 2 laps. That's the man we're watching right now as he heads out of turn 4 towards the triple left-hander at turn 5. See, the problem you got with handicap racing And the cars coming from the scratch position and just ahead of them, the faster cars, they push themselves as fast as they can to make up the gap that they've had to give away at the start. Sometimes it's just better to just take it a little bit more gingerly, about 75 to 80% of your fastest lap, get to the front and then start to have the fight. Because once you get into traffic, you're going to automatically slow down anyway. Not always easy to do when you're a racer and that red mist comes down though. Like Duplessis Senior will tell you. Sean Hepburn on the inside of Abbott. He makes up one place there on the 914 Porsche, closing in now to take back and get back ahead of Rob Clark. So he's made up one position over Rob Clark. He's still got to go around and catch him again though. So he's now onto the same lap as Clark, but he's going to have to still go around one more time and make up the ground on the Citroen. Clark forcing Abbott around the outside of the entrance to the Dogbone. And if you don't know the circuit we're dealing with at the moment and you've never been out here to Mpumalanga in South Africa, we're at Red Star Raceway. Purpose-built motorcycle racing circuit initially, and eventually giving way to the sport of four-wheeled action here too over the last 4 or 5 years. So not only do we have some exceptional motorcycle racing that's happened here in the past, including some epic battles in 24-hour endurance races, National Championship Superbike racing and National Championship Circuit racing. There's been some great battles in historic and inland championships as well. Duplessis being caught now and finding Frans Venter easy meet. Trying to get away from the 270Z there. Josh de Klerk still continuing to do a great job there in his little Honda. As we see Werner Hartzenberg closing onto the back end of the second of the big Nissans. The 928 Porsche. He's starting to close down there on Tiaan Vermeulen and goes past Tiaan Vermeulen relatively easily. Looking at Werner Hartzenberg, his allocated times were 1:44.4s. So that will give him 2-minute 24 laps he's allowed to play with. He's already gone and broken out. Hartzenberg is into the 2:23s. So you can see just how difficult this racing is. It's racing against your competitors on track as well as against the clock. And it looks like he might have broken out. Sean Hepburn currently in the 2:22.8s. Is that going to be too fast for his breakout? I think it may be. Sean Hepburn allocated himself a 2-minute 20.8. So no, he's 2 seconds still in hand. Cola de Klerk, second last car off the line. Can't go faster than a 2-minute and 19 second, 2-minute 19.9. De Klerk currently 2:23.7, so he's well within his lap times. Duplessis Senior crosses the line again. He's definitely going to be in trouble with the lap times he's putting in. He's done a 2:25.9. That's about 2 seconds quicker than his allocated breakout. If I check down on the breakout list, where are we? Duplessis Senior, 1:44.6. So 1:44 gives us a 2-minute 24.6. And he's currently lapping in the 2-minute 25.9. So he's still okay. Just inside. But very close. The Marauder now being caught by Hartzenberg and Hepburn. As I said in race number 1, if you were listening to the commentary, in handicap racing, you cannot afford to miss an overtaking opportunity. And not making those passes could cost both Werner Hartzenberg and Sean Hepburn. They're eventually going to try and squeeze out the Marauder down into turn 6, but it's 3 by 3 they go into turn 6. That could end up in tears. We saw that in Lotus when Robin Creel spun out. But Hepburn gets through on Hartzenberg. Hartzenberg gets through on Van Niekerk. Cost them probably just one corner there of overtaking, but that one corner could be the difference between winning and breaking out, or winning and not finishing as well in the top 3 by the time we get the checkered flag out. Rob Clark still leads out. And he's going to be a tough man to beat as he goes through turn 4. Second place comes across the line right now in front of me. That is Clive Winterstein in second. So he's about 5 corners behind the lead car of Rob Clark with 3 laps to go. Clark heading onto the short straight. Winterstein going into turn 2. Duplessis coming through on Josh de Klerk as he crosses the line. And it's Frans Venter, Hepburn and Hartzenberg. Van Niekerk's Marauder in Gunston colours goes into turn 1. We're watching Duplessis and de Klerk come out of turn 3. So Duplessis has got through. Currently still doing 2:25.9s. That's his fastest. I'm just watching. He doesn't break out this time. Just want to have a look at the times that Rian Roux's currently doing. He's about to come across the line in his second now behind Abbott. Just hoping he hasn't broken out of his allocated lap times as well. He should be the next car, if I'm not mistaken, in sight. Carlo de Klerk should have got through there. In fact, I think we're missing Rian Roux somewhere on track. He seems to have gone missing. I think Rian Roux might have gone missing. Yeah, he has, because here comes Rob Clark. Rob Clark completes another lap. That's 6 done and 2 to go. I don't know if the timers or the timekeepers. There's Roux parked on the sideline. Actually just saw the car on the inside of that shot. So Rian Roux is out, which means that the scratch car now becomes Carlo de Klerk. And Carlo de Klerk is a long way down. As I try and work out what's happening here between live and the speed half, jumping from the original race to what's happening on track at the moment. Rob Clark from Winterstein. Carlo de Klerk lapping in the 2:23s. And his allocation was a 2:29 by the looks of it. 2:19. 2:19.9, yeah. 2:19.9 for Carlo de Klerk. He's currently lapping in the 2:23, so he's well within his breakout time. Hasn't broken out on this one. Duplessis Senior closing in on the back end of Winterstein now for a take-back of second place. So Duplessis Senior takes second place away. Werner Hartzenberg has got through on Josh de Klerk. Means Hartzenberg has moved up into what is going to be fifth place. Sean Hepburn going up for 4th, going to try and go on the inside of Frans Venter. Now goes around the outside of the triple left-hander. That's the man they've got to try and catch now in the next lap and a half. Clark is going down into the dog bone. And the next pack of cars is coming into turn 6. Duplessis Senior heading into the dog bone now. Rob Clark is in trouble. Clark is going to be caught before the end of this lap and will not start the final lap in the lead. Now we just need to keep in mind the lap times and the breakout times. Duplessis Senior 2:25.9. He's still within his breakout time. Sean Hepburn pushing in the later part of this race as well. He's got 2:20.8 to play with. And currently Sean Hepburn lapping in the 2:21s. So he's also, fastest car on track is Hepburn, but he's still within his breakout time. Coming to the line to start the final lap. Rob Clark is going to start the final lap in the lead, but he's going to lose it by the time they get to turn 1. Because here comes the Citroen, and right on his tail is the 944 Porsche. Diving into turn 1 now, tucks in behind him, but oh, look how tight it is. How much would you like it? A little bit of room there. Is there enough for the Porsche to squeeze through? There is. With a lap to go, Rob Clark loses the lead of this race to Vainant Duplessis Senior. And Duplessis Senior now is the lead car. So the silver Porsche 944 has taken the lead right at the right time and stays within his allocated lap time. Hasn't broken out. But now what he has to worry about is the charge coming from Sean Hepburn and from Werner Hartzenberg. He goes into turn 5. Behind that, it's Hepburn. Hepburn is already coming up into turn 5. Sean Hepburn on a flyer here. Last lap from Hepburn was a 2:21 as opposed to Duplessis Senior's 2:25. So certainly Hepburn has got the pace. He's got 3 seconds a lap quicker than the 944 Porsche ahead of him. Little GX closing in now onto the Porsche. How far back is he? You can just see him in the background as they come out of the left-hand flick and into the start of the dog bone. Duplessis Senior probably thinking to himself, come on, I've only got 6 more corners to go. I can see that little GX coming. I'm not going to let him through. Both of these drivers, remember, broke out of the first heat. So they can't go any faster than what they're doing right now, and they can't have a potential bit of chaos in the last part of the race where they break out on the last lap. But the way they're having to drive is defensively, and well, the attack coming from the front is from the 944 Porsche of Duplessis Senior. He's got the straight and the chicane. Hepburn's not going to catch him. He's too far back. Duplessis Senior has done this to perfection. As long as he hasn't broken out on this last lap, Vainant Duplessis Senior is going to take this win. He cannot be faster than a 2:24.6. As he comes to the line for the victory, the checkered flag is on standby. And he comes to take it. And completes the race at the front of the battle. Duplessis Senior coming across the line, just waiting for the timing monitor to refresh itself and let us know whether or not he has indeed finished the race and not broken out. Second place going to Sean Hepburn. Third place going to go to Werner Hartzenberg. I'm going to just check on their allocated lap times as well. Werner Hartzenberg allocated himself 141 seconds, so that's a 121 that he could do. Hartzenberg could do a 121. Lap times coming out of Vainant Duplessis Senior, 26 dead on the last one, 22 dead for Sean Hepburn, so that won't change him. And Werner Hartzenberg 25.4. Fastest laps 23s, 21s, and 25s. All good for the top 3 there. So confirmation of the result there. Werner Duplessis Senior taking it from Sean Hepburn, and third place going to Werner Hartzenberg. That shouldn't change. And that, of course, is unofficial until we get the original results and the official results from the Charlie Super Spa Historic Pursuit Series. Hope you enjoyed that one, ladies and gents. As it says, a little bit of a chess match that happens there for action that happens, of course, on track with a handicapped version of racing for the Charlie's Super Spa Historic Pursuit Series. Up next, the Bridgestone BMW Car Club. We'll be back soon. On track is race 2 now for Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series, and a fantastic battle out front in the first one. Initially very close between Andreas Meyer and Rick Lorao, but this time out I think Lorao will be looking to just change things up a bit. Maybe done a bit of tweaking on that little Class B machine of his. It's his hill climb car. It's not his usual car that he participates in the BMW Car Club Racing Series in, but it's great to have him here. Jan Everstein will definitely be looking to turn the events around of race 1 and possibly beat Salvi Gutteri in the Sav Speed BMW. Cotwell will be looking for another victory in Class C, but he'll be pushed hard by Neil Reynolds and Troy Cochrane to see if they can change up the way things proceeded there. Class D battle, expect to see Matthew Wadley, Varish Gunpath, William Einkammerer, and Bernard de Gavea with Clippy's Cricker fighting for honours there. Class E was all about Batty Rietveld and Nicholas van Sale, but look out for Manny Ribeiro, Colin Van Son, and of course Nicholas Fisher, Carlos Gamero, and Lyle Ramsey, new man to the series here in his BMW now, stepping out of front-wheel drives in Polos and into rear-wheel drive BMWs for the Bridgestone series. If you've just joined us, also just another reminder to everybody, and a big welcome to Mickey Kaba and VJ for joining us on my page, and a couple of other guys joining us for the last bit of race action now on the Up to 60-second page as well, and on our YouTube feed too. We are in Mpumalanga in South Africa. It's just outside of Johannesburg, of course, in South Africa, and about 70 k's outside of Johannesburg you find the Red Star Raceway, a purpose-built motorcycle track initially that has been converted, and of course converted in a big way from the original owners of the circuit, Mr. Van Wijngaard and family, and Dean and his team who have taken over here have done an incredible job to up it. You can see just on the left-hand side above the pit there is the new lodge created here for people to stay at the circuit if they want to come and do testing and racing here. I'm just concerned about the fact that I don't see Andreas Meyer on track, or did he come out late and making his way through the pack now? I don't see. No, he's actually starting from the back. Looks like they've put him at the back of the field for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't get any information from any of the guys at BMW Car Club Racing Series as to the reason for him being put on the back. Maybe he just wants a bit of a challenge. He might have done that by himself and just asked to start at the back of Class B. Also a big welcome, of course, to my good friend Helen Wiedemann, who's been on line with us the whole time. She just sent me a message saying, yeah, listen, by the way, I've been on the whole time. I haven't seen you on the feed. That's probably why I couldn't mention your name, but thank you so much for the support. There's been people on the feed right the way through, which we do appreciate, and thank you so much for joining us on our live stream feed, courtesy of Up to 60 Seconds. And, of course, our team that brings you all of the South African Endurance Series, excluding, of course, Gary van der Spey today and Vanna Hinop, but both Paul and Daryl have done an incredible job fighting the internet woes that we've had here, and also the lack of power, but we still got through the day. So it's Lorao that will be leading things out as they head down towards turn number 1. Carbini alongside him, Osbad Jan Everstein, and then it will be Salvi Gutteri and Andreas Meyer. Renier Smith and Lyle Ramsey ahead of Troy Cochrane and Cotwell, and look out for the battles through the field as this big field of BMWs now make their way around on the shortened version of the circuit. It's the short lap under starters orders. And behind our incredible little pace car, the brand new Ford Fiesta Trend, courtesy of Casey's Auto in Benoni, the Mazda and Ford dealership, and part of the Super Group. Corley de Beer and her team have been here the whole day, and we do appreciate the support that's come from them. A new sponsor getting involved in the sport of motorsport is always a good thing to see, and we like to keep them happy all the time. It's only been called on once earlier on today in the Lotus Challenge race, the little Ford Fiesta having to do work during the race as opposed to what it's doing now as the pace car. And as that pace car comes around, it'll be lights out into the pit lane and over to Rick Lorao to take us through into race 2 of Bridgestone's BMW Car Club Racing Series. A little Ford Fiesta leading a pack of hungry BMWs who are about to go to race action for 8 more laps here today and the final part of our coverage from the historic and inland regionals at Red Star Raceway. Internet issues have not only caused havoc with our feed, but also caused havoc with the Speed Hive feed. And we'll wait to see if we actually get that, as opposed to Veynon du Plessis Senior and Sean Hepburn, who were just at battle. But here we go. Lights about to go on. Watch out for Lorao and Garbini on the front row. Baggioni behind them. Dropping the hammer there is Rick Lorao. And here comes Jan Everstein. Everstein on the inside of Garbini going in towards turn 1. Oz Baggioni around the outside for second place. Baggioni hangs on for turn 2 and turn 1 and heads on to second place there ahead of Garbini around the outside though. Watch out for Salvi Galtieri. We got a spinner into turn 1. It looks like at one of the police cars. Is that Rainier Smith who possibly went out, or is it Wadley? One of the two who was spun out there, and it looks like taken out a couple of cars as well. Looks like it might be Troy Cochran down there. Just trying to pick up on that car. No, it's not Cochran. It's a red, white and grey car and one of the SAP liveried machines. There's Cochran. He's just behind Andreas Meyer, who's looking to come through the field. Remember, he started at the back of Class B, so he'll be looking for a way through, giving himself a bit of a challenge here in the second heat by the looks of it, having to start at the back of the grid for race number 2. 235. It might be Ian Cotwell who's parked down there. Yeah, it could be the 235i of Cotwell who got involved there with one of the SAP liveried machines. I would have to say probably Rainier Smith, because they were in close contact on the grid. But up front, it's Baggioni trying to close down on Rick. Rick just disappearing at the front end there. Lorao has got everything sorted out in that little machine of his. It's the hill climb car, as I said, of his. It's not his normal race car. Behind that, it is Garbini holding up Everstein, Salvi Gautieri and Andreas Meyer. Big welcome to all, of course, of the LM Insurance Consultants, Mean Wraps and I2. Also part sponsors of the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series and helping us out with the footage here today. As we get down out of the dog bone and into the flick that brings them onto the back straight. Garbini is in the lead of this pack of cars, racing for what is now second and third place on the road. Garbini hanging on for third. Everstein's on his tail. Watch for the change of pace here. I say change of pace. Andreas Meyer's got good pace, but look at the Sav speed machine there of Salvi Gautieri. Salvi Gautieri going around the outside of Jan Everstein, and Everstein under threat. Oh, and he runs completely off. He takes out Garbini. That is a big mistake there from Salvi Gautieri, under braking. Garbini was going to turn in, and Salvi was on the inside, and the two of them coming together. And it looks like safety car has been called. Yes, safety car has been called. So safety car has been called out, and it's a pity that that safety car board didn't come out earlier on, because Salvi is now not happy. Realizing the mistake he's made right before the safety car board came out. Garbini just nursing his BMW across the grass to try and bring it back into the pit lane. Maybe got enough time to get all those broken bits and pieces off and get back on track. Leading things out though across the line, Rick Lorao ahead of Oz Baggioni and then Jan Everstein. Andreas Meyer's up to fourth. As we see the ailing BMW of Carlo Garbini with bits and pieces of that car. You can see even that's the plastic that goes in between the door. The door rubber has come off on that car. That's how hard he got hit. Going into the Suzuki GSXR pit entrance. I kind of gave it the commentator's curse there, Paul. I apologize for that. I said that the safety car had not been needed other than in one edition today in the Lotus. And now, typical. Whatever the commentator says, the opposite will happen. And once again, that Ford Fiesta trend has been brought into action as the safety car. So they'll be behind safety car now. Rick Lorao in the lead of the race behind that little Ford Fiesta. And he'll be looking to maintain that lead if possible. Not always an easy thing to do with Jan Everstein and Oz Baggioni behind him. According to what I see on the timing monitor, though, they missed. Oh no, I know what happened there. It was as the safety car came out. I think both Oz Baggioni and Everstein passed Rick Lorao because he saw the safety car boards and they possibly didn't. They've given those positions back again, though. So if you are watching on Speed Hive, it says Baggioni in the lead ahead of Everstein and Lorao. But Lorao, as you can see there, is the lead car. And he'll be looking to maintain that lead now. Safety cars are going to help him out here. A couple of laps on the safety car is definitely going to give him a chance to just stay at the front for a while longer. And we've only completed one lap in anger, so still 7 to go. 6.5 when they get into turn 6 here. Safety car boards and yellow flags waving now at all the corners, and the little Ford Fiesta doing a superb job at the front there. Big thanks to Casey's Auto from Benoni for the supply of that car, as well as our course car. The course car is actually down in turn 6 in case we need to get to an incident quicker than the safety car can get to. So there's a little Mazda 3 down at turn 6 and 7 as well, ready to be deployed if necessary. Nice shot that's a great shot there. Suzuki Swift own it. Red Star Raceway, trucks going down the N12 headed towards Johannesburg, cars going towards Witbank and Imatleleni, and of course BMWs all around Red Star Raceway, including that one there of Colin Van Son, the 000 club car, and the pursuit vehicle and flying squad of the SAP just ahead of him. Just picking up on the cars that came through there. Cotwell was the car on the left-hand side, so it's definitely the 235i that's out, so we confirmed that one. Salvi Guterri we saw crash just before that. Carlo Garbini is in pit lane and having some work done frantically on his car. I don't know if he's going to get back out in time, though. And then just seeing, are both of the SAP cars back in it? Rainier Smith is the car that was the incident causer at turn 1 with Ian Cotwell. That's why he's done in 16th place in the SAP liveried machine. And his teammate, Matthew Wadley, is in 8th. And that means Wadley possibly leading Class D. Just looking at that, is Varish Kanpath ahead of Wadley? No, he's behind him. Yeah, so he's leading Class D. So Matthew Wadley in 8th place is leading Class D. Class B is Rick Lorao. He's leading that class out. And if I get everything right here, as the lights go back to racing, we head down towards turn 1 again. Lorao really, really late on the brakes there, trying to outgun Everstein. Everstein around the outside of Osbagioni. Osbagioni into 2nd place now. It's a late move. Oh, and he nearly goes onto the side and into the side of Rick. Lorao saw him coming. Lorao had to get completely out of shape, and he now goes on the defensive. Look at Osbagioni. Bagioni is everywhere. He's left, right, center, off track. He's onto the grass. The pool man is starting to dig up some areas where you can actually put some pools in here. They're already 2 at Red Star. We don't need any more there. Thanks, Oz, for that one. So Bagioni runs completely wide and out of this one. Hey, that is definitely not the way you want to be doing things. But Oz Bagioni maybe getting caught out slightly by some cooler tires. Remember, they've been circulating for about 2 laps there behind the safety car. And Bagioni running off out of turn 3 and onto the grass. Drops him right back into about 10th or 11th place as he got back onto the black stuff. So leading things out, Rick Lorao. And super job there from Jan Everstein to avoid the attentions being shown by Osbagioni as he dived up the inside. Nearly took out Rick as they went into turn 2. Andreas Mayer now looking for a way past on Everstein. Everstein putting that BMW of his as wide as possible to keep out the Sat car. This touring car is one of the best in the country, one of the best in the world ever built from the BMW factory. And Dion Jabeur was the original pilot. It didn't have that big wing and, of course, the big diffuser at the back to give it the downforce that Andreas Mayer's getting out of that car and getting the lap times that he does out of it. But certainly a very seasoned campaigner and, of course, the #1 plate in the series as the reigning champion. Now, let's see if he's able to put the power down and get past Everstein. Shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Using the additional bit of power that he gets, the additional bit of traction he gets out of that car, gets up into 2nd place. So he's now only got one more car to contend with. That's a little bit up the road there. And Rick will be looking in his rearview mirrors and seeing those Enviro car colours of Andreas Mayer. Everstein is 3rd. As they cross the line, it's Cochran up into 4th place overall. What a drive there from Troy Cochran. Leading Class C at this point as well. He's got Osbagioni trying to make up ground as the rest of the pack comes streaming through. Further back, you've got Wadley. You've got Clippy Skricker in there too. Varish Gunpath and William Einkammerer sitting in the top 10. Slowly but surely, Andreas Mayer will be closing in, trying to bring the gap between himself and the lead car a bit closer. 2 10s out of Rick, 2 11s out of Andreas Mayer, but that was due to the fact that he had to get past Jan Everstein on that last lap. He's now got a little bit of clean air to close down on the red BMW, the hill climb car there out of the Lorero stable. The Lorero is having a super job, and always a very seasoned campaigners when it comes to the front end of this field. Whether or not they're going to be able to keep out this big attack from the Enviro car of Andreas Meyer, we'll wait and see. The Viking car there of Jan Everstein doing a magic job in third. Top three all out of Class B. And continued action now as they get out of the dog bone and down to the bottom end of the circuit. Further back, Nick Van Zyl having some fun and games of his own. Luxury fragrances for rides machine there. Shouldn't be too far ahead, possibly of, I'm going to say Van Son, or who else is just behind him there? It'll be Nicholas Fischer. Batty Rietveld at the back and Rainier Smith dropping by the wayside after a little bit of damage on that car. Wadley doing a good job as well still in the second of the SAP Polisi Flying Squad Emergency Unit cars. Across the line for the two of them. But it's Loreo who leads things out and still continues to maintain the pace at the front end. Andreas Meyer has not been able to catch him yet. Osbadgioni doing a good job to close things down on Troy Cochrane. Cochrane still in the 4 spot. Didn't expect to see him so high up, but he's definitely going to revel in the conditions at the moment. The Arrow Automotive car there in 4th, ahead of Baggioni in the Biopool car. The pool man, as I mentioned earlier, looking for new places here at Red Star Raceway to dig up some ground for pools. There already are 2 here though, just to let you know. Oz. And a great entertainment area provided by the Red Star Raceway team here at their canteen area. Also looking to put some new stuff in there along with the lodge that they built and some new VIP pit facilities that they're currently building. Side-by-side action there between Van Son in the 000 and a nice drive coming out of the 62 car as well of Batty Rietveld. Those two having a little bit of a fight of their own there for Class E honours at the back of the field. 205s out of Andreas Meyer is the fastest lap so far, and you can visibly see the gap coming down there between himself and Rick. As we continue to see the action at the back end of Class E. Further back behind them, I think it's Carlos Gamera. Yeah, Carlos Gamera in the Winfield BMW 325 IS. It's just at the back end there. The shadow line, trying to close things down on this little fight. And just up the road from that, it's the 222 car of Clippy's Cricker who's coming under threat now from Einkamera. William Einkamera closing down on Clippy's Cricker. Andreas Meyer closing down on Rick Loreo. Andreas Meyer has his sights firmly set on the trees ahead of him. And Rick is doing a great job to defend. Maintaining about a 1.5 seconds to a second lead. How much longer can he soak up the pressure as Andreas Meyer ups the pace? Not a huge difference in terms of lap times between them though. Last lap time out of Loreo. Rick Loreo was doing 2:05 and 5s. Fastest lap of the race on that last one, so he's also answered the call there to the pace being set behind. Baggioni got through on Cochrane. So Osbadgioni now up into the 4 spot and 4th place in Class B as well. Cochrane still maintains the lead in Class C. He's got a decent enough margin over Lyle Ramsey, who is leading Class E up into 6 overall. Nice debut here for Lyle Ramsey into the BMW Car Club Racing Series. Further back, still action there between Clippy Skricker. The red BMW there being hounded by the 142 of William Einkammerer. Cricker makes a slight miss. Oh, Cricker's got a problem. I think he missed a gear there. Clippy Cricker missing a gear, and Einkammerer pounces. Gives him a chance to get through, and relatively easily, actually, with a mistake coming out of Clippy Cricker. That's something that you don't normally see. He's not been around in BMW Car Club Racing Series for a long time, but he has had a lot of experience with BMW engines. He used to run a BMW engine, if I'm not mistaken, in his Lotus 7 in the Lotus Challenge, and was an all-conquering machine at one point in time in the Lotus Challenge. So definitely a man who knows what to do when it comes to the sport of racing. Top two, though, have crossed the line, and another lap completed. We are now down to 2 to go. Leroux and Meyer coming out of turn 2 into turn 3. Headed up towards turn 4 right now, and Meyer closing down. Late braking coming out of the Enviro car to close down on that little 3 Series at the front end. This hill climb car has been very good. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he can get this one to the end of the race at the front end. If anybody can do it, there's one man at the wheel right now, and his name is Rick, to keep out Andreas Meyer. And Andreas Meyer sets the fastest lap of the race on that last pass. 2:05.375. He is 0.3 of a second off his qualifying time, with a lap and a half to go. But is that enough? Because Rick Leroux is doing 2:05.4s. So he's only a 1/10 of a second quicker. And with a lap and a few corners to go, that might not be enough. '82 in full flight. Varish Gunpath, haven't seen much of him, but certainly he's enjoying himself out there in his car, and looking for honours in Class C. In Class D, I beg your pardon. So Class D there for Varish Gunpath. I think he might just be behind Matthew Wadley, or Matthew Wadley still leading out Class D in 7th place overall. There is Wadley. No, that was Renier. That was Renier, I beg your pardon. Renier Smith in the 5 car. There's Gunpath. So Varish Gunpath looking for 2nd place there in Class D. Leaders start their final lap underneath me and head down towards turn 1 for the last time in anger. I think Rick Leroux might have had enough here. He might have just done enough to keep Andreas Meyer out for this next 4 kilometers of racing. Coming across the line, Osbagioni still hanging on there for 3rd place. But too far back on Jan Everstein to make a difference to that 3rd place. He's going to have to settle for 4th. Cochrane still in the top 5 hunt, and possibly going to be taking Class C honours, remember. Unbelievable finish to this race. Didn't quite expect this, that's for sure. As I said, that safety car has certainly helped out Rick to stay at the front end of this field. Can he do it for the next couple of corners? Can't afford to make a mistake. Andreas Meyer, you can see just how hard he is pushing. He is giving it everything he can there in that Enviro car. And Meyer, the number 1 plate on the side of that car, shows his intentions are where he wants them to be, and that's at the front end of the field, but he'd like to be 1 up on the car in front of him. Onto the back straight. We've got the back straight, which is almost a K long. A little short chicane and about 400 meters to the line for Leroux. He's going to be taking this victory. An incredible drive coming out of Rick Leroux here. 2:04.7 on the last pass. Fastest lap of the race. And now coming to the checkered flag. He's done it all right. Andreas Meyer had no answer. And it looks like the Luftwaffe have been bettered. It's been a long time since we've seen Andreas Meyer have to come through and be bettered by another car, but this time out he gets beaten by Rick Leroux. Evenly done. And a great job to the line there from him. It's going to be Jan Everstein for 3rd place in the Class Bs and 3rd place overall as well. The Viking car comes across the line. Next up should be Osbagioni. It is indeed the pool man and Troy Cochrane coming through for a victory in Class C. So that brings us to the end of our coverage here, ladies and gents. We hope you've enjoyed every minute of it. And once again, apologies from our side for nothing we could do, unfortunately, with the internet feed that we were given today, courtesy of a little bit of action that happened a little bit down the road from us. And that, of course, was a big fire at the substation on one of the transformers in the Delmas region. So apologies for that, but we did bring you all of the action nonetheless. We certainly hope you've enjoyed all of it. It has been a great honor to be part of this team again. And a massive thanks to everybody for joining us on the live stream feed here on Facebook and on YouTube. Please like and share it and pass it on to all your friends. And tell all the guys that are driving that they can pick up this feed anytime now, anywhere around the world, as long as they've got a Facebook or a YouTube, and they can pick up on that and watch it as many times as they want to. And that's what it's all about. Up to 60 seconds, team. Thanks you for your support. The guys from ST Promotions who put the race meeting together will also thank you for their support. And from my side, a great effort there from all our marshals, our medics, and race control. And a massive thank you to all of the series sponsors that were on board today, as well as a new sponsor in the form of Casey's Auto, Benoni, the Mazda and Ford dealership, for supplying us our track vehicles here today at Red Star Raceway. From my side, Greg Maloney, the voice of choice. It's been an honor and privilege. We'll see you soon. We'll be back here at Red Star Raceway next weekend, and you'll be able to see some of the National Extreme Festival racing. Until then, take care then. Bye-bye now.
Last one, boys. Considering the shit we went down with Instinct, that was a proper good production. Well done. Well done. You put the action in the last one. Shitty from. That was good. Sure. Fucking got roosted in that little sunshine in the middle of the day there.